Welcome to the show. This is the Farzy Show. It's presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Jalen Hurts had a passer rating of 7 in the first half. Jalen Hurts had a passer rating of 7, the number 7.0 in the first half of that game yesterday against the Buffalo Bills. He had thrown for less yards than Josh Allen had rushed for in that first half. To say that it wasn't going well for the Eagles in that first half, and this was an incredible, absolutely incredible about face, yet again, mind you, by this Philadelphia Eagles team, is an understatement. To say that it's unbelievable, to say that it's incredible, all wild understatements for the Philadelphia Eagles to pull this game out in overtime. Jake Elliott, a 59-yard field goal in essentially a swamp at that point. When he made that field goal, obviously I wanted to jump up and down. I wanted to run to Lincoln Financial Field. I wanted to give Jake Elliott a hug because he's incredible. All that stuff. It's great. It's wonderful. It's amazing. But I also wanted to shake the hand of the field crew, whoever tends to the field there of that grass, in the incredible Lincoln Financial Field. Just thank you guys, because for whatever reason, he was able to plant enough to be able to drive that ball through the uprights, just squeak it in past the far upright in order to tie that game and send it to overtime. It was unbelievable to see the Eagles win that game. And they just continue to win these games. And they go into halftime down 10, and they go to halftime, they're trailing, and they do that all the time, and then just come back and win. And I joked about it after the Kansas City Chiefs win, about how the Eagles just, right where they want them. Oh, here we go, that second half. They don't even bother playing to the first half. It's all about the second half if you're the Eagles. And what do the Eagles do in this game? Exactly that again, where it doesn't even really start until the second half of the game. And I don't know what got into this team, but watching him come out and start the game without Lane Johnson on 3 straight throws by Brian Johnson's offense. And at that point, you really got to look more at Nick Sirianni, because those are the scripted plays. That was infuriating. And then to see him come out and hold on a second. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. Hold on. Wait for it. To see him come out in the second half and set up the pass by running the football. Has anyone ever had that thought ever? Oh, wait, hold on. You run the ball to set up the pass. You set up the pass by running the football. And the Eagles did it in this game in the second half. And for some reason, they needed an entire half of football to go by to realize, hey, maybe we should be running the ball a little bit more. And they did. And that's when they started gaining those grounds again. That's when they started making things happen again, just like they did against the Kansas City Chiefs. And they did it again. 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 And that was a cameo by my wife's cat. All right. All these things going on in this game today were absolutely incredible. And to see the Eagles just continue to just rest on their laurels and feel like everything's just going to be fine and dandy, oh, it is spectacular. Time and time and time again. By the way, speaking of comebacks, Brandon Graham was talking about his boy Jalen Hurts after the game.
Well, they always talk about Tom Brady with the drives at the end. I'm hoping Jalen start getting that name, and I'm happy that he went out there and just finished the deal. Had a game-winning drive, and keep them coming, and because we gonna need all that. Because I feel like defense always try to put him in the best position that we can, and we love putting it in his hands at the end to give us a chance, and that's one of many that he's gonna have, and so I'm very thankful to be a part of that.
It's incredible. Tom Brady, all right, whatever. Hey, look, this team doesn't really start playing until the second half, it seems like. They need a first half to start feeling the other team out. They need a first half to figure out what the hell's going on. They need a first half to figure out, all right, maybe this game plan isn't working the way we thought it was going to. And then they come out and they just absolutely dominate in that second half. But in terms of the scoring that went on in that game, just absolute sheer and utter dominance. You're not going to believe it. It's just what they continue to do time and time again. It's unreal. And Jalen Hurts now, when you think about these numbers, just listen to this for a second here. Jalen Hurts now has improved to 8-0 when trailing by 10 or more points in a game. He's won 8 straight games of trailing by 10 or more points in a game. 8 straight games. The next person has 4 straight games in that regard. That's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Now listen to this. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, when combined, listen to these names that they're with through their first 45 games. This is including the playoffs, by the way. Including the playoffs, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have combined for a record of 34-11. That's their record. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, that's the 5th most victories by a head coach quarterback tandem in their first 45 games since 1970. They're doing things for the first time since the merger, or better, since the merger. The other names on this list, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are up there with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers, John Fox and Peyton Manning in Denver, Don Shula and Dan Marino. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are up there with Don freaking Shula and Dan Marino. Let that sink in for a second. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Let that sink in for just a second. This is spectacular. And I know we get caught up in what might happen in that first half. All right, but think about what happens throughout the entire game. Think about what happens throughout this entire game. The last couple of games here with the Eagles. Think about this. The Eagles don't have terrible games. The Eagles don't have bad games. The Eagles, if there was ever going to be a letdown game on the schedule, this was going to be that letdown game. A game that you were supposed to win, a team that had been struggling, a team like the Bills who hadn't won back-to-back games since weeks 3 and 4 going into this game, a team that before this season was supposed to be one of the teams that come out of the AFC. Oh, really great trade. Come out of the AFC. Really make something happen. And no. They come into this one game removed from firing their offensive coordinator in Ken Dorsey. That new offensive coordinator is able to help them dominate the Jets for whatever you want to say. The Eagles weren't able to do it. They were able to do it, so there you go. And then they come into Philadelphia with this new charged offense and take a lead again on the Eagles, and the Eagles counter, and they're able to take a lead in the second half, and then the Bills counter again, and they take the lead, and then the Eagles tied up on a 59-yard field goal. What the hell? And the Eagles they don't have those bad games. They don't have letdown games. They don't have those games. What they have is this amazing ability to have a really bad half and then have a spectacular first half, or excuse me, it's a spectacular second half. And normally what they do in that second half is dominate defensively, and then the offense just does enough. This was a case where the offense of the Buffalo Bills continued to push, continued to score, and the defense for the Eagles couldn't come up with that huge stop except for the James Bradbury interception, which was incredible. But then again, the Bills countered, and the Eagles came back. They don't have letdown games. They don't have bad games. They have bad halves at the worst, with the exception, of course, against the New York Jets. I'm really, I honestly, in the second half of this game, I said, you know what? You haven't had that Josh Allen interception yet, and he came into yesterday throwing an interception 7 straight games. Now it's been 8 straight games where he's thrown an interception. At some point, he was going to throw an interception. At some point, the Buffalo Bills, they were going to turn the football over. They were going to give the football away. And that's exactly what Josh Allen did, and it helped the momentum for the Eagles tremendously, and they were able to cash in on that. A 3-play drive after that ended with that miraculous 3rd and 14 throw from Jalen Hurts to Olamide Zaccheaus in the end zone. You knew as the game was going on that the tides were going to turn in the Eagles' favor, because that's what the Bills have done. The Bills have lost now 1-4 in one-score games this season. I mean, that's your season right there. I mean, you talk about the Eagles and what they've been able to do in close games, and they come out on top. This is how many times can you watch an Eagles team? How many times can you watch this team this season and say they just find a way to win? They are beating that dead horse like nobody's business. They just find a way to win. They found a way. They found a way to win. They just find a way to win. They found a way to win. How did they found a way to win? And the Buffalo Bills, who are now 6-6 on the season, you know what they continue to do? They continue to find ways to lose football games. That's the difference between a team that before the season was supposed to come out of their conference or really compete to win their conference, and a team like the Eagles that are going to come out of their conference. And I know what's ahead of them. I know the spread. I know the Eagles are underdogs at home against the San Francisco 49ers. They're 1 point underdogs. 1 point. The Eagles are 1 point underdogs. Did you? I'm sorry. No, hold on. Do you dare? Do you dare make the Eagles actual underdogs again at home? What? That right there is an underdog's natural habitat. That right there is an underdog's natural habitat. Let's go through the game a little bit, shall we? Because it was another wild one. 5 things about this game I want to get into before I get into the play-by-play and reviewing some of the plays, the crucial calls, and some of the mistakes that were made in this game. 5 big things. I'm just going to say this right out of the gate. Jake Elliott is the greatest kicker in Eagles history. I love David Akers. I got all the respect in the world for David Akers. I grew up with David Akers, obviously. Really crushing and crashing field goals through the uprights for the Eagles for a long time. 12 years. Incredible. Jake Elliott's better. 85 kick percentage to an 80 kick percentage advantage. Jake Elliott. You know, David Akers never had a 90% season with the Eagles. Jake Elliott has 2. Jake Elliott also won. What did he do? He hit this. What game was that? The Super Bowl. He helped the Eagles win. I'm taking Jake Elliott. I got 1 kick. I'm taking David Akers, and I love David Akers. All right, watched every kick he ever had. I watched him when he was at the Lions, when he was at the 49ers. Okay, watched a lot of David Akers. Jake Elliott's better. I got 1 kick to kick in Eagles history. But Jake Elliott right this way, sir. Not so fast, David Akers. I know that came up after yesterday's game. Jake Elliott. He's got, Jake Elliott in 6 years in Philadelphia. I believe it's 6 years now. 24 field goals from beyond 50 yards. David Akers, 27. So there's a lot of time left this year. Jake Elliott could get another couple 50-yard field goals and tie David Akers for the most 50-plus yarders made in Eagles history. That's unreal. Absolutely unreal. And I mentioned the 61-yard Giants. Yeah, I think I did. 59 yards yesterday in the rain. And all the respect to those 2 incredible kickers. When we're talking about Eagles history, I got Jake Elliott, best kicker. 59-yard field goal send that came into overtime yesterday. And the reaction, Devontae Smith in the locker room after the game was just like, I know it's money. I know it's money. I know it's money. So much confidence. Nick Sirianni said after the game, he didn't watch the 59-yard field goal. He didn't watch it. Couldn't. I think it was Jason Kelsey telling him what went on. Jalen Hurts there on the sideline, just like, yep, that's what he does. As cool and collected, just sitting there on the sidelines, like, yep, this is what he does. Jake Elliott, that's what he does. Said after the game, I want to make sure I got this right because I think he was misquoted by somebody. Somebody said that he said it was the most difficult. I think he used the word complicated after the game. Toughest one he had to kick. He's ranked his kicks in his career. This one he's really got to reflect on a little bit to see where it ranks, but he said this was the toughest one considering the conditions. They tried to ice him, but he said he just kept his rhythm and kept his routine, and that's how he was able to make sure that he came out on top in the winning end of making that kick. And how you don't block a 59-yard field goal is beyond me. I guess it would help if they had Jalen Carter, but they don't. The Eagles do, and we'll get to that because that's number 2 here. Jalen Carter yesterday was a force in the middle of that line of scrimmage. And I realize the defense wasn't exactly the greatest thing in the world, but Josh Allen was running all over the place. But when the Eagles needed to get pressure, they got pressure. When Jalen Carter needed to get into the backfield, he got into the backfield. And Jalen Carter blocking that field goal was amazing. And it made me think about, again, that somehow the NFL allowed the Eagles and Howie Roseman to get Jalen Carter. Somehow, NFL teams didn't want anything to do with Jalen Carter just enough for him to become a Philadelphia Eagle. Just enough. Jalen Carter wanted to become a Philadelphia Eagle, calling Howie Roseman before the draft, before he was picked, and said, I am going to work my ass off. You're going to get a guy who's really loving football and a guy who's really concentrating on football, but do a lot for your team. And Howie Roseman was like, 100%, man. And boom, they drafted him. Next time he's blocking field goals. He's leading the NFL. He's a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate, Defensive Rookie of the Year favorite. I look at Jake Elliott. I look at Jalen Carter. James Bradbury, number 3. I don't look at James Bradbury and go, wow, incredible game by James Bradbury. But this Eagles team continues to give me 2017 vibes. In 2017, I said this last week, setting up this game, setting the table for this game, I said it last week. This team gives me those 2017 vibes in that somebody is out there ready to make a big play. Whether it's LeGarrette Blount, whether it's Jay Ajayi, whether it's your secondary, whether it's Ronald Darby, whether it's Jalen Mills, Malcolm Jenkins, okay, expected, but Malcolm Jenkins could do it. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, all those guys. You look at that team and you go, oh, yeah, they're going to do something special. Somebody's going to step up and make a play. Somebody's going to step up and make a play. This team makes me feel like that. Watching James Bradbury get that interception last night where I was just lying, waiting for the Eagles to come up and make that big play. James Bradbury made that play and was able to help the Eagles get themselves in front. On that same note, I'll put this as 3A next to James Bradbury. Olamide Zaccheaus? He's the guy that gave it a touchdown to put you in front of the Buffalo Bills after that interception by James Bradbury. Olamide Zaccheaus? I got all the support in the world for Olamide. I'm just not expecting him to be the guy that's going to help you, get the lead back or get the lead. And Jalen Hurts not only made the play, got out of the pocket, rolled to his left, which for a right-handed quarterback is difficult, rolls to his left, sees the opening in the back of the end zone, and is pointing for Olamide Zaccheaus to go there. After the game, Olamide Zaccheaus just said, I just went to where Jalen told me to go, and there was the ball. And Jalen Hurts found him, and he's in between a Pro Bowler in Micah Hyde and a Pro Bowler in Jordan Poyer. And he comes down with the touchdown reception to give the Eagles the lead. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. The second person I want to, the fourth person I want to talk about here. I really don't know what to do with Brian Johnson. All right. I understand that there's a lot of criticism to Brian Johnson, and I've criticized him as well. As the week went on, last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all that, as the week went on. Oh, yeah, Thursday was Thanksgiving. Hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. But I watched the game, and in fairness, I did a show Friday. I did do a show Friday, and I said the same thing then. But anyway, Brian Johnson, I learned as the game went on, as that Kansas City game went on, there was kind of a method to his madness with double screens. The double bubble screens, that is, back-to-back plays, I should say. But the more I think about it, you come out in this game, you throw 3 times. If you're not calling plays for this offense, if you're Nick Sirianni, you're not calling plays. Brian Johnson's calling plays. Then the most your fingerprints are on the play calling are in the first 15, so to speak, scripted plays of a game. So you mean to tell me that either the plan all along, Lane Johnson or no Lane Johnson, was to come out and throw the ball 3 times with Jack Driscoll there as your right tackle, or the fact that you lost Lane Johnson and then decided to throw the football 3 times right out of the gate? Either way, to me, when it's that early in the game, the first 3 plays, I am looking more at Nick Sirianni than I am looking at Brian Johnson. I would assume that Brian Johnson has a lot more to do with what happens when the Eagles come out for the second half. And Brian Johnson and this offense coming out in the second. And now, look, as the first half went on, it still didn't find any fluidity or flow or anything like that. But in the second half, I would think Brian Johnson has a little bit more say on what the Eagles' approach is going to be. And that's where they started running the football. And to get briefly into that play-by-play for what the Eagles were able to do in that second half to start things out, I want to just throw some things at you here. In the second quarter, in the second half, Eagles get the first possession. Unfortunately, they have another 3 and out, so nothing was really going there for them. Bills get a long drive, ends with the field goal not being made, obviously, here. Missed field goal by Tyler Bass. And then Jalen Hurts and the Eagles get the ball back, and they put together a great drive. 6 plays, 62 yards, 3 minutes and 19 seconds. And that was able to get the Eagles to within 3. It made it 17-14 coming out in their second possession of the third quarter. They got the ball at the 10:32 mark, and they scored a little bit more than 3 minutes later. But they started that drive off with DeAndre Swift going around the left end for a 36-yard gain. Then DeAndre Swift ran for 2 yards. Then DeAndre Swift ran for 6 yards. Then Jalen Hurts was able to get that quick slant, that throw in the flat out there to Jack Stahl, who got pushed out of bounds for a 14-yard gain. Jack Stahl, ladies and gentlemen, used the run game 3 straight times. We're able to set up a play to Jack Stahl to the right side of the line of scrimmage, which is important because that's where Jack Driscoll is. Then Jalen Hurts hands the ball off to DeAndre Swift. He gets a yard. Then Jalen Hurts finds A.J. Brown for 3 yards for the touchdown. And that is when the Eagles went down only 3. Pulled the game to within 3, 17-14. But they came out with 3 straight runs in that possession, and they were able to score a touchdown. Bills are able to answer back right away. Allen gets the touchdown, so another counterpunch by the Bills. But things really started clicking for the Eagles when they started running the football. And I think that has more to do with what Brian Johnson wants to do as a play caller than what Nick Sirianni has necessarily game planned for. In the early portion of the season, I mean, even later than that, even with the Eagles being 7-1, let's say, the Eagles looked like a team that we're going to look at Sean Desai as the far superior defensive coordinator, the far superior coordinator of the new coordinators hired before this season. Brian Johnson, to me, has closed that gap. Not that he's the better one at this point, but he is certainly closing that gap between him and Sean Desai. Has he been left to be desired? Absolutely. When you see a play like Jalen Hurts makes where he's putting to Olamide Zaccheaus to get into the back of the end zone, that's not some brilliant thing drawn up by Brian Johnson. So I'm not praising him for that. But there has been, more often than not, a method to his madness. And I feel like, and you know what, Seth Joyner even got into this in the post-game show yesterday with us, but he was talking about Brian Johnson and other angels on the shoulder of previous Eagles head coaches. Brad Childress with Andy Reid, for instance. Frank Reich with Doug Peterson. Like, hey, why are we running the football? Maybe Brian Johnson is that guy who's the angel on the shoulder of Nick Sirianni saying, maybe we should run the football. And that could very well be the case here. So I'm willing to give him a little bit more leeway. And I've said before, you see the flashes with him. That run by DeAndre Swift that went for 36 yards, you start to see the flashes there, the creativity. The fake screen to Julio Jones, I believe it was, before the touchdown pass to Devontae Smith that made it another, I think, a 3-point game at that point again. That was another creative play there by Brian Johnson. Number 5, and I'm saving the best for last. Folks, Jalen Hurts is incredible. That's a statement in itself. He's the MVP of the National Football League. You want to talk about clutch? 8 straight games when trailing by 10 or more points, he has come back and won. As I said earlier, the previous record to that, the better record, the only other record to that is 4. The next person has 4. He's got double that. And he did it again yesterday. 14 straight wins against teams with a winning record. And yeah, the Bills just barely got that winning record in, but they got it. 6-5 before they faced the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, to use this tired expression, but it's the easiest way you could sum it up. The stats in this game, just like the Kansas City Chiefs game, you read the stats in this game. There's no way the Philadelphia Eagles should have won this game. There is no way, shape, or form the Philadelphia Eagles should have won this game. Especially look at the first half numbers and the second half numbers. The only thing that really heavily went in the Eagles' favor was 11 penalties by the Bills, only 4 by the Eagles. And 2 of those were back-to-back, close together, false start calls on Jason Kelce before that 59-yard field goal. But none of the numbers other than that really show that the Eagles should have won this game. Time of possession heavily in favor of the Buffalo Bills. Unbelievable. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to use a line from Chip Kelly when you talk about the time of possession in this game, which was far apart as well, heavily in the Bills' favor. But what does that do? Just show that the other team stood around with the football longer? That was Chip Kelly's line on time of possession. Hey, I'm not necessarily in that school of thought, but yesterday it certainly applies. And then all you really need to know about this game and the clutch gene, if you will, is what happened in overtime. Eagles are able to hold the Buffalo Bills to a field goal. 12 plays, 53 yards. They hold them to a field goal. Awful miscommunication between Davis and Allen on that last play, where Davis had a touchdown if he would have cut inside. It looked like he was supposed to run a post route. Allen said after the game it was a option route for the receiver. They lined up in max protect because the Eagles were in zero, and Davis cut to the outside. He should have cut to the inside. Should have been a post route. Instead, he went to the corner. Could have been a different ball game. Eagles could have lost. But guess what? They didn't. Guess what the Bills did? They found a way to lose. And then Jalen Hurts got the ball back with an opportunity to put the ball in the end zone and win the game for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts gets the ball back with 5:52 remaining in overtime. And goes through a 9-play, 75-yard drive. 9-play, 75-yard drive where the Eagles only face one third down. 9 plays. They only face one third down. Jalen Hurts is able to scramble for an 8-yard gain on the 1st and 10 from the 25 to get things started. Then he's able to hit DeAndre Swift for a 4-yard gain. Throws one to A.J. Brown that goes incomplete. Passes deep to Devontae Smith. Gets the 17-yard gain. Then he's able to scramble for 7 yards. Throws one to A.J. Brown that unfortunately was incomplete. Timeout by the Buffalo Bills. They're trying to save some time for themselves. Jalen Hurts is able to hit Devontae Smith for another 11-yard gain. Jalen Hurts then runs for a 16-yard gain. And then Jalen Hurts up the middle, 12-yard run on a 1st and 10 from the 12. Touchdown Eagles. Game over. 37-34, Eagles take the win. What more can you say about Jalen Hurts? There's no other adjectives other than maybe MVP, if you want to describe him as that, which is now the front runner for. You talk about him in the first half versus the second half. Yeah, I don't care. First half is that, hey, look, I would love for the Eagles to have an incredible point differential like the Cowboys or previous to last night, the Baltimore Ravens. Would love to see a great point differential. Well, you know what I'd rather see, though? Wins. The Cowboys are killing teams. Best point differential in the NFL now. And the Philadelphia Eagles are just squeaking by. You know who I've got more faith in? The Philadelphia Eagles. So people talk about comfortable wins. And yeah, hey, look, I would love to kick my feet up and just, well, the Eagles got this one by 30. Easy peasy. But you know what? I'd rather have a team that's beating good football teams. Taking care of business against Miami Dolphins. Taking care of business against the Dallas Cowboys. Look, the Bills were supposed to be on the upswing of things, and they beat the Bills, a 6-5 team. Say what you want, they were a winning team. I wouldn't say they were a good team necessarily. And they also beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which is pretty big. Pretty big. The number one reason they do all this is Jalen Hurts. If that's not an MVP, I don't know what is. 10-1, again, yawn. I mean, listen to these other numbers, too. Excuse me. Eagles improved to 10-1 with the victory. Best record in the league, again. Eagles have either held or shared the top mark in the NFL every week since week 1 of last year. The best team in the league for a long time now. They're the 6th team in franchise history. The Philadelphia has started 10-1, having previously done it in 1949, champions. 1980, went to the Super Bowl. 2004, went to the Super Bowl. 2017, won the Super Bowl. 2022, went to the Super Bowl. Pretty good trend here for the Eagles, except for the winning. They won one Super Bowl, I think more, obviously. But at least it shows we're going to go here. They have won 10-plus games in back-to-back years for the first time since 2013, 2014. I gave you the numbers about next year. Oh, Jalen Hurts here. 2nd NFL quarterback since 1950 to start 10-1 or better through 11 games in back-to-back years, joining Peyton Manning. Jalen Hurts also has won 14 straight games against teams with winning records, marking the longest streak by an NFL quarterback since 1950. You saw him earlier in the show, Brandon Graham. Wow. All-time Eagles leader in games played. Pretty special. This is a pretty special unit, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty special unit. Remember 2 years ago now, we were looking at Jalen Hurts and we're saying, is he the guy? The guy in the NFL, the quarterback in the NFL, the franchise quarterback in the NFL that you want is the guy that no matter what, no matter if you're 11 for 14 throwing the ball in the first half with a passer rating of 7, you want to know that you're going to come out in that second half and give your team a chance to win. With Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, you always have a chance to win. People, we'll talk about a run first guy. The dwindling haters. We'll talk about run first guy. If that's ever said, I think I need an order of law from the United States of America that we're just allowed to just walk up to people, take a glove off, and just slap them in the face, just with the glove. Just slap. I challenge you to a duel type situation, right? Because if he's a run-first quarterback, he doesn't make that play to Olamide Zaccheaus. He doesn't direct him to pointing and for the touchdown. No, he doesn't make that play. You know what he does? He scampers for 7 yards. That's what he does. He escapes the pressure, rolls to the outside, scampers for a couple of yards, and lives the fight another day. No one said, you know what he did? Oh, let the team kick another field goal. Know what he did instead? Threw a touchdown pass to Olamide Zaccheaus. He directed the traffic. He was air traffic control on that play. The number one reason the Eagles are in the situation they're in is because Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. And now it's 2 years going of proving it. Is he the guy? Oh, hell yeah, he's the guy. And he's better. He's a better version of the guy than we ever thought he'd be. Even the most optimistic, myself included. People would ask me, was I betting on him before last season? Yes, I was. This season? Absolutely. Him and Nick Sirianni. And here's the thing. Nick Sirianni, I was jabbing. So those are the 5 things I'm looking at from this game. My takeaways from the game yesterday. My 5 major things that I take away from yesterday's game. But to look at Nick Sirianni, I don't know what it is about this guy, but man, he just finds that right button to push every single week with the Eagles. I don't like doing this, and I always defer to players that I'll get a chance to talk to, particularly Seth Joyner on the pregame show. Seth, letdown game. Is this a letdown game? We got a letdown. Is this going to be a letdown game? I don't like saying I didn't play in the NFL, spoiler, so I don't like going, this is an NFL, this game right here, this is a letdown game. But when you look at the schedule and you look at the previous game, how big that was, this was supposed to be a letdown game. And I don't believe in winning letdown games because guess what? If they won, then it wasn't a letdown. All right? You were wrong with your prognostication. So they go into this game, supposed to be a letdown game. They go, what the hell's that letdown game? Brush it right off. Horrible first half. And they go out and they take care of business in the second half. Seth Joyner said, I don't really believe in this game being a letdown game because you got to get up. And Seth had the best explanation for this. When you look at the schedule now that the Eagles have won the first 2 games on this 5-game run, you mean to tell me if you're the Eagles and you know that the hopes and dreams of having that number 1 seed are going to be lying within this 5-game run right here, you mean to tell me that in this stretch of games, you're going to have a letdown game? You mean to tell me that in this stretch of games right here, you're going to take your eye off the prize? And I thought that was the best way to describe it. I think Seth absolutely nailed that. Hold on a second. You want to talk about a letdown game? He's like, I played in the league 13 years, man. We have a schedule like this in front of us, and you want to tell me that there's going to be a letdown game in there? No, man. No, not going to happen. And I was like, that's brilliant. Did it have the makings of it? From the outsiders, from our perspective, yes, absolutely. But there's something about Nick Sirianni. There's something about Jalen Hurts. There's something about Jason Kelce. There's something about Fletcher Cox. There's something about this team, this coaching staff, and the leaders on this team that have many times over been there, done that, that doesn't allow this team to lose focus. After Jalen Hurts, I look at Nick Sirianni, and I know, oh, he doesn't call plays. He's a cheerleader. Other haters for Nick Sirianni, right? What the guy just finds ways to make sure that this team is motivated and focused. And yeah, he's got help with the leaders on this team. Absolutely. But damn, they know how to push the right buttons, man. Nick Sirianni after the game talked about the win.
Man, you know what? It couldn't have been much worse of a first half. We got to the run game really going in the second half. Our guys were really doing a good job of executing in that second half, and that was an offensive explosion in the second half, right? I mean, and it had to be because they were good too. And man, I think that there was a notion that game could be high scoring going into it. Then at halftime, it was going to be a little battle, and then it got high scoring again. And so, just really, really excited for our guys on offense that just put their head down and just kept going, right? And that's mental toughness, right? I already know this team, this Philadelphia Eagles team, is physically tough, and you get mentally more tough throughout the year when you go through ups and downs. And man, that was a down first half, and but we have a mentally tough group as well as physically tough group that just stuck with it and kept fighting, and it turned.
Find ways to win. Keep fighting. That's exactly what this team did. Absolutely unbelievable. This is the fact that they've done it so consistently. I'll go to it again. It ain't luck, folks. And the Eagles have had luck. A lot of teams have luck. Lucky bounces, whatever. The Buffalo Bills. What now? They have 2 interceptions, 21 takeaways as a defense. I don't know what the hell's going on with Jalen Hurts and that mesh point with the read option sometimes, but good Lord, that's 3 times in 6 quarters that the Eagles have Jalen Hurts and his running back. At this point, it was Kenny Gainwell. They just don't know what the hell's going on here. And why would Jalen Hurts give that ball? I don't know. Anyway, so whatever, it's bad. But this team just finds a way to overcome mistakes that they make, and a team like the Buffalo Bills, who have capitalized on opportunities, scoring on both turnovers yesterday. Going into yesterday's game, the Buffalo Bills have scored 22% of their points on the season. 22% of their points on the season have come off of turnovers. That's the highest percentage in the NFL. And the Eagles shouldn't say handed. They took the ball away. They handed them one. They took the ball away, though, twice. And they converted that into 14 points. That is pretty good. That's pretty good. Absolutely pretty good. And then finally, from Jalen Hurts after the game last night, here's what your boy had to say after a thrilling come-from-behind win.
I kind of had a little reflection moment of what am I supposed to say? What do you guys want me to say? And we just continue to find ways to win. We continue to find ways to win. We play together. We've shown our resiliency day in and day out, game in and game out. We've been challenged in a number of different ways, but we always find a way, and that's something you can't really take for granted, and it's hard to quantify. Obviously, we have a ton to clean up. I have a ton to clean up. I have not executed to the level of my standard and what that is yet. And, it seems to be enough. But in terms of the standard that I like to play to consistently, and I'd like us to play to consistently as a team, enough is never enough. And so you just want to continue to strive for more and play to that standard.
That standard is getting a lot of run these days, folks. That standard is getting a lot of run. The standard certainly looks more familiar in the second half than it does the first half. And the standard has really become, let's see what we can do in the first half. Oh, not so great. All right, second half, let's have at it. The Eagles don't have bad games. The Eagles don't have letdown games. The Eagles have bad halves at the worst. And it wasn't like the Buffalo Bills lied down and died in the second half. The Eagles just took advantage of every single opportunity. The Bills still put up points in the second half. The Eagles just kept coming back. They weren't going to be denied. What is it? You can measure the size of the dog in the fight, but not the fight in the dog. Well, the Eagles are underdogs again, now going up against the San Francisco 49ers. I'll just say this to start it out, right? Here you go, ready? Hey, don't lose this game. I can't handle two sets of Cowboys fans. April, you always pointed out in the chat, the red Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't take that. I absolutely can't take that. Now they got this game coming up. 1-point underdogs, 425, Sunday, December 3rd in South Philadelphia. Hey, let me tell you about the amazing people at MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. Take advantage of all they have to offer right now with MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. And make sure, ladies and gentlemen, use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy at MyBookie. Because right now, if you're ready for any big game, you should be ready with MyBookie. Sign up today and make your first deposit with promo code Farzy and get a sweet deposit bonus of up to $1,000. That's right, $1,000. How about that? Promo code Farzy to claim your bonus. This isn't just a promo code. It's your secret weapon to get the extra edge on the house. The best part is with MyBookie, you don't have to be a sports whiz to make money. At MyBookie, you can cash in on everything from politics to your favorite TV shows as well. And then some. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. That's MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag. And make sure you use promo code Farzy to try to get your cash bonus up to $1,000 with MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Before I get to the chat check, I do have one thing. For those that watch the Farzy Show and have been watching for quite some time, Thanksgiving is over. Now it's Christmas time. And before I get to the chat check, I would like to reveal for the first time this Christmas season the amazing Farzy Show twerking Christmas penguin. Thank you. Hold for applause. All right, let's start out with the chat check. Professor Dutch on the Farzy Show channel. What's going on? Good morning. Professor Dutch, Farzy, underrated MC. What? I usually watch you solo. Okay. But now I put the game on mute to catch the halftime show. Carla is awesome too. Carla? Kayla. I think you mean Kayla. Kayla is awesome. Next up, those burn-ass 40 whiners. We win the game. The NFC is all but clinched. Yep. Can we have an easy win for once? No, Sean Gillespie. That'd be boring. And we don't want boring, baby. April, good morning. Sean Kilrain, good morning. Professor Dutch, Gabe Davis hitting that TikTok, kids. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That was almost as good as the twerking penguin. I see Frank Reich coming back, put Johnson back at quarterback coach, says Sean Kilrain. I don't see it happening soon. Last time Elliott hit a game-winning or time field goal, you all know what happened. Mally, you're absolutely right. Smoke him if you got him, my friend. Mihai Sanchez, wild game. Oh, Mihai, you went. Oh, that's right, you went to the game. Oh, my goodness, Mihai Sanchez. That is bonkers. That was your first game, right? Where did you go? There you are. Wild game. I attended for my first game. Yep. Yeah, first ever Eagles game. Never a doubt. I will be back again next year. Fly, Eagles, fly. On the road, 10-1. Build a statue to Jake Elliott. Sean Kilrain, Sean Gillespie, ton to clean up. Please hire a professional. Absolutely. Wait, Mally, did you watch? What'd you do, Mally? Oh boy, we're jinxing things. T-Bro! Ah, Mally, the twerking penguin is back! Damn right. Go over to the Jacob Media YouTube channel, see what's going on, people. Please never again. The Christmas Penguin will be making multiple appearances between now and the awesome holiday. Thank you very much. King Pooty TV, what's up? Tampa Eagle, hello from Tampa. King Pooty, Hurts is the scariest player in the NFL. Hurts is the MVP of the NFL. Fandalorian, what's going on? Not only did the Eagles win last night, but just got word my uncle beat stage 4. Hey, pancreatic. Oh, my God. All the W's are coming. Fandalorian. Congratulations. No joke. Congratulations. That's amazing. NJ Fishing Maniac, what's going on? How you doing? How about it? Alan, 0-6 in overtime since they changed the overtime rules for Buffalo. Wow. That pass to Oz was a dart. It absolutely was real RMP. Andrew was calling hell of a game last night. Go Birds. Absolutely. Brian Johnson saving his best for the stretch run. Run game will carry us to the Super Bowl win this season. Look, I think Lane Johnson plays that game if that game was against the 49ers. If the 49ers were in town this game, Lane Johnson would have played. But the fact that they rested him, good idea. Dirty D, great name. Bills are a way better than 500 team. We beat a great team last night. It doesn't feel like that. They just when you find ways to lose consistently, I can't put you as a great team. I could barely put you as a good team. Victor, at most I'll say that they are better than their record says they are, but the record, it is what you are. Victor, what's up? Hurts could be the first quarterback ever to throw for 20 touchdowns and run for 15 touchdowns in the same season. How about this stat? Saw this from ESPN. I want to give him credit for this. This is unbelievable. Where did I put that? Hurts, no. Oh, last night, whatever. First game in NFL history where opposing quarterbacks each recorded multiple passing and rushing touchdowns. Multiple passing touchdowns and multiple rushing touchdowns by both quarterbacks. Quarterbacks combined for 9 touchdowns last night. 2 running each. Hurts 3 touchdown passes. Josh Allen only 2. He sucks. Just a tip. That's right, Farzy. You suck. You stick up for your baby brother's coaching career. Hey, Nick Sirianni is 1 year older than me, you bastard. Little brother, please. K. Raleigh, what's up? BJ needs to figure out how to put up points in the first half. Okay, I agree. Farzy will not stand for bad-mouthing little brother. Just never again. Do you think the connection between Swift not being in the entire second quarter, that being our worst quarter? Oh, pretty much. Just said, please never do this again. Oh, I'm going to do it again. Terry Hayes, what's up? Morning. Jalen for MVP? Yes. Jalen Hurts for MVP? You kidding me? Again, the thing I keep going back to, Jalen Hurts had a passer rating of 7 in the first half. Second half, he had a passer rating that was perfect, 158.3. What more do you need to know? Absolutely unbelievable what Jalen Hurts has got going on for himself. Absolutely unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Also, special Farzy Show guest this week. Really look forward to this. Wednesday, Jameer Nelson joins the show. Let's break down his new position with the Delaware Bluecoats, talk about the development of Tyrese Maxey, his role in the Sixers front office as well. Jameer Nelson, 20 years since that incredible St. Joe's run. Jameer Nelson joins the show, so don't miss that on Wednesday morning. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Also, thanks to our friends at Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com, and PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.